ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors, Tuesday, September 2nd edition of the show. We're 4 days away from East Carolina's home opener against the Campbell Fighting Camels inside Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. It'll be a 6 o'clock kickoff for that game. Later in today's program, in our next segment, we will visit with ECU Pirate Club Executive Director Ryan Robinson. We'll get an update on how things are shaping up for the home opener, look at potential ticket sales, some new things in store for Pirate fans at the home venue this season. So looking forward to that conversation. If you do have a question for Ryan, drop it in the chat. We'll have him for one segment, and we'll get to that before we get him off the show. So if you got a question, again, YouTube, Facebook, X, the comments section are open. Drop it there. It is Tuesday, September 2nd. We just wrapped up the final game of the college football weekend. We'll get into that here in a second with Philip Pilkington. I did want to remind folks, it is now 75% off special on hoistthecolors.net. to subscribe. Obviously, if you're listening to the radio, you know our radio show or the podcast version. We've got a whole online staple of this as well, hoistthecolors.net, where you can get VIP, more further in-depth information, 75% off for the next 365 days of coverage. Today is the final day to get on that special for an annual subscription to Hoist the Colors. So if it's for new subscribers only or monthly subscribers looking to upgrade, definitely take advantage of that right now. And subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the replays of the show, as well as the IBX Media app, where you can hear the Patrick Johnson Show, Talk of the Town, and Inside Pirate Athletics from Tiebreakers every Monday with Blake Harrell. Philip Pilkington is back at the 94.3 The Game studios. Philip, I do want to issue an apology right off the bat to Justice Bradburn, who yesterday on our show made a statement that we both laughed at, that Charlotte could beat North Carolina next week. And we both laughed. And after last night, I think that we owe him an apology, because it is very well possible.
Yeah, I think we owe him an apology. We owe the world for us to laugh at ourselves for ever doubting justice in this situation. That was bad. They looked bad on offense. They looked bad on defense. They looked bad on special teams. But I will say they looked a lot different under Max Johnson. And not saying that he's going to start next week, but I know he maybe doesn't have the ceiling as the Lopez kid because of his inability to run the football, but he looks like a much more competent pocket passer.
Yeah, I've said all along that I don't want to beat this North Carolina Bill Belichick thing to death, because I know it's going to be talked about nationally, and we are going to always stick to the local topics here. But it is somewhat local. I know we have a lot of people that follow North Carolina sports around here. Casey Ramaley's in the chat. He says, let's get the Hills on the schedule ASAP. Yeah, look, they wouldn't schedule ECU to begin with. Now they definitely are going to schedule ECU. Justice also saying the apology is accepted.
Thank you, Justice.
I didn't expect them to be good. I did pick them to win the game. I just feel like Belichick and his staff would have them prepared all offseason to prepare. And look, they look great in the opening drive, but they just look uncompetitive, man. TCU would just line up and just run outside zone, and there would be two gaps wide open, just nobody filling the gaps. Defensive linemen couldn't get off blocks. Untouched, 15, 20-yard runs. They looked a lot like the North Carolina teams we've been watching for years. And maybe it's just, I don't know, a culture thing. It's going to take time. I don't want to overreact to week one, but I was just shocked at how uncompetitive they looked, especially on defense, given Bill Belichick and Steve Belichick's background.
Yeah, I feel like, once they threw the pick six, they were pressing just a little bit on offense, and that was kind of the issue there. But to your point, yeah, on defense, it felt like they didn't look like FBS football players. That's what it is. It really looked like an FCS, FBS football game. Like you said, they were losing the point of attack. They couldn't get the offensive linemen's hands off of them. And I thought the tailbacks of TCU did a very good job being patient. There were a few long runs there where the hole, you're right, was there, but had they tried to hit it very quickly, it wouldn't have been there yet. They looked very Le'Veon Bell-esque back there in that TCU backfield. So I don't want to take anything away from TCU in the game that they played, but TCU's defense, they made some big-time plays, obviously forced some big-time turnovers, and then, like I said, Carolina just looked like they were pressing on offense, trying to do too much. I mean, heck, the quarterback went almost 2 hours at one time without completing a pass from 8:12 to, I believe, what was getting close to 10 o'clock. I think it was like 9:58, 9:59. So you're looking at, an hour and 45 minutes-ish there without completing a forward pass. I mean, just I don't know, man. Like I said, it really looked like how you would expect and how we hope these Carolina Campbell games going to look this week.
TCU wins it 48-14. They outgain North Carolina 542 to 222. So I'll be honest, I was out for a jog for the first part of this game, and I did have some of it up on the radio. But how much did they show, like the Jordan stuff? Was that even a factor, or was it just more about the game?
Yeah. So when the game first started, maybe it was right after the first drive, they cut to the box. She was in the box with Randy Moss, which was kind of weird. And then after that, they showed, MJ was there, Julius Peppers, Roy Williams, Lawrence Taylor. So they showed it first, actually, before the game, they showed all the kind of the true celebrities. And then when they scored, they showed everybody I just mentioned. And then I don't think they really showed or talked much about her. However, I was at the Buck for sports trivia, so I don't know if there could have been, some more chatting about her that I didn't hear because music was on, not the broadcast, even though we could see. But it seemed like they did a much better job than they did with the Tay-Tay thing, and they kind of kept it quiet. I can tell you with how boring the game was, had Brett Musburger been on the call, I'm sure we would have seen her a lot more often. But, yeah, I think they did a good job of, hey, look, here she is, and let's move on.
Yeah, I did have a game on late as I was getting some work done, some writing, and I looked up, and I did not see the game, but I did see Kirk Herbstreit's dog wearing the headset of the announcing crew. So that's how bad it got. By the end, it was Kirk Herbstreit's dog getting a lot of coverage. So that was interesting. All right, so have you seen the line for Charlotte and North Carolina for next week?
No, good. I get to guess. I like this game.
Yeah.
I'm usually good at this game, but this one's going to be tough.
North Carolina and Charlotte. What do you think it's at?
18
Quick turnaround for the Hills, like we talked about. 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Solid guess, but I guess Vegas has a little more faith in the 49ers. It's at 14 and a half.
Wow.
So still a 2-touchdown dog at home. I'm not going to bet on this one, just like I didn't bet any actual money on North Carolina and TCU, but we'll see what happens. Jerry Richardson Stadium, as Philip gave away some money last night. All right, Robert's got a question for Ryan Robinson. We'll ask him here in a few minutes when we get him on the phone. Kenny Curlin says the dog got more TV time than Bill Belichick's girlfriend. All right, we have an ECU question, so we'll move on from North Carolina talk. Will John David Baker try to run the ball on Campbell or start out letting Kaden Hauser get in a groove throwing on them is what Kenny wants to know. So ECU Campbell this weekend. Here's my thing. I think so much of this offense, Kenny, is based upon what the defense is giving you. And we have to remember there's a large chunk of these plays that are RPOs where it's up to the quarterback to decide, all right, how many, what's the box count? How many defenders are in the box? Is the nickel linebacker crashing when I, go to give the running back the ball? If so, I'm going to pull it and throw the glance route over it. If he's staying back, I'm going to hand the football off. So I think a lot of it comes down to what the quarterback is seeing. There were a lot of times where it was an RPO and Caton gave it to the back against State, and it was the right decision, but the blocking just wasn't there. So, part of me does want, if the opportunity's there, you don't want to go out and throw it, if Campbell's playing deep coverage, right into their safeties. But part of me wants to see ECU go out first drive, take a shot downfield just to loosen them up. We didn't see that versus State, and I thought that allowed the DBs to kind of play closer to line of scrimmage, maybe not hesitate as much. Even if it's incomplete, let's just see them take a deep shot, open up that defense, because you should be able to run the ball in this game once you kind of get your offense into a rhythm.
I get where you're coming from, but I also think the mind is a powerful thing, and confidence is something that is very important in college football. I think that we ran the ball really good the last 2 drives. You need to build on that. Look, we know Caden Hauser can throw the football. We know these wide receivers can take it off the top. I'm not saying don't take one shot play. I'm not saying don't, throw the ball, but I would like to see an established run. I want to see 3 runs on the opening drive between 4 yards and 8 yards. Now, I'm not saying we don't bust one out if we can, but at the end of the day, I want those runs that get you in second and medium that allow you to call whatever the heck you want on second down because you're already in third and manageable, and I think we need to establish that amongst the offensive line, build that confidence in them, because to your point, Steven, you should be able to do that, but with the mind being a powerful thing and confidence being a big thing in college football, when you struggle to do that, when you run the ball for 1 yard per tote, last time out, let's establish the run, punch them in the mouth, play a little 3 yards in the cloud dust. But yes, that being said, got to get the crowd into it as well. You're playing an FCS school. There ain't nothing wrong with a 50-yard or an 80-yard bomb on the first play.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we're going to have a conversation in our third segment after we talk to Ryan. Who do we want to see more of? And I just posted an article on hoistthecolors.net going into week 3. And there was no shortage of names I could come up with, and I could have pulled about 6 to 7 skill players just based on how the game went offensively. So it is one of those things where if you have a shot if you got a shot early in the game to get a Jaquez Petaway involved, not just the jet sweeps, or you have a shot to get Yannick Smith more involved in the passing game, you like to see that too, but you also want to build the confidence of Parker Jenkins and Marlon Gunn. So, look, there's a lot of moving parts. Again, I do think ultimately it comes back to what the defense is giving you. Kenny adds, seems like the pass opens up the run for us. And it does. I will say last year ECU had more than 200 yards rushing in 5 of their final 6 games. A lot of those situations came more so you did hit the passes early, and then the running game opened up as a result of that. But certainly an extension of the running game is that horizontal passing game. You got to be able to block on the perimeter. You have to be able to execute that. I think part of that, honestly, watching preseason practice, ECU maybe didn't go as live as much as past years. And I do think just the game speed, not seeing quite the caliber of athletes that NC State has in the secondary potentially played a role, and just guys not realizing, all right, I really have to go attack this block. I've got to get my feet here, got to get my fundamentals in place here. And it takes sometimes going through the live fire to really be able to see what the issue is, adapt as a result. All right, I tell you what, let's go ahead and get a break in. We'll come back on the other side. We will be rejoined by Ryan Robinson over the phone. I did quickly before we take a break, we want to run down the rest of this week's schedule as well. Of course, we've got Ryan today. Tomorrow, we will have Chris Haymeyer, Campbell play-by-play voice. He will join us on Wednesday to provide a snapshot of what the Camels bring to the table. Thursday will be visited by Macy O'Donnell and Kevin Monroe going into the home opener, get their thoughts after the NC State game as well. We are trying to fit in Adler Augustine, ECU volleyball coach, at some point this week. They may have to wait till next week. And then Friday, of course, Bobby Harward as well with our picks and all that stuff. So a lot heading your way. ECU football talk heading into the home opener. We'll visit with Ryan Robinson on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle, Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, September 2nd. We're 4 days out from ECU's home opener against Campbell. It'll be 6 o'clock, the kickoff time inside Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. We've got Ryan Robinson, Executive Director of the Pirate Club, on the phone, and I know it's a busy time for Ryan with everything happening with the home opener, so we appreciate him joining us. Ryan, are you ready for kickoff? Do you need any more time? Are you guys ready to do this thing?
We're ready. You know, from a Pirate Club standpoint, you know, it's funny. I enjoy Labor Day weekend, but it is hard when you don't have, you know, that Monday. We were in the office yesterday, but phones have been ringing off the hook today, which is a good thing. And, you know, people this time of year, they're just starting to look at their tickets and their parking. And I encourage everybody to do that, especially coming off a reseeding year. So, yeah, we're ready to go. We got a lot of new, exciting things that, you know, we have planned, especially around the Pirate Club with some tailgate areas and different things. So it's going to be a busy week, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, a lot to get into, Ryan. Well, we'll start with the reseeding process, and I know I don't think people understand just how much goes into that over the course of the off season. And how do you feel like that went? You know, do you feel like it was pretty smoothly ran, and are you happy with the results?
Yeah, happy with the results. And, you know, anytime you do a project of that magnitude, Stephen, I mean, we obviously are going to have people that are unhappy. And I think the main thing for us is, you know, trying to understand our customers, which are Pirate Club members, and getting them in the best seats possible. I do think it's a way to reward, you know, some individuals that have really, maybe the last 3 or 4 years or last 5 years, have kind of come on with some major gifts. And you have to look at it from that standpoint as well, because you have some people that, you know, let's just say you go and you give a 6-figure gift. Well, I mean, they want an opportunity to get tickets and, you know, better parking. But you also got to remember you have some very loyal Pirate Club members, you know, 50 years they have been giving to the Pirate Club. So you got to respect all parties. But I think overall it went really well. This has been a kind of a summer of transition. We actually have a new assistant athletic director for tickets, Sean Rooney, who comes to us from Houston, where he spent the last 3 years as their director of ticket operation. And it's interesting. I think Sean's got a great background, but I think, there obviously basketball is the number one thing there. So he's getting caught up to speed on the magnitude of Pirate Nation and, the amount of season ticket holders we have. So it's been a good process. Coleman Spain, who I can't say enough about, he left us to kind of go work in his family business, getting out of college athletics, but very indebted to Coleman Spain forever for everything he did for us.
All right, so 6 o'clock kickoff. Kenny Curlins is in the chat, Ron. He wants to know if y'all can – he said, can y'all open the tailgate lots a little earlier, please? So what will it be, noon tailgate lotting open?
Noon, yeah. Noon,
okay.
Yeah, should be noon. But Kenny is my guy. I love Kenny Curlins. But yeah, I think that, and we are moving the Pirate Walk this year will be 2 hours and 15 minutes before instead of 2.5 hours. I think that will help, Stephen, with getting more people there. I'd love to even get it to where it's under 2 hours, but you also got to understand a football team's schedule, and really appreciate Blake for kind of moving it back a little bit. I think you'll obviously have more people. One of the things that's going to be really cool about the Pirate Walk is going to be now it's going to end through our new tailgate area where Scales Fieldhouse used to be. So that's going to be an exciting new addition to the Pirate Walk and to all the festivities.
Yeah, looking at the going out there earlier this week, seeing the new turf down for the tailgate plaza, right in front of the stadium, I think it's going to be an awesome area. Just how much work is going into that in a short amount of time, Ron? It seems like a pretty quick turnaround. And then, are there still openings there? Or, how can people, potentially rent a tent there, all that stuff?
Yeah, it really has been. We put down turf there, and it is. We've told our coaches it's not for practice. It's a green space. And what they're doing is they're fencing it right now, so there'll be a fence around it. And then we're going to put some sand down this week on the turf to kind of soften a little bit. But, yeah, so fans can rent one of the tents, completely turnkey service, have it set up where we'll have all the tables and chairs for you. We get food. We have 4 or 5 food vendors. Food will be delivered for you. And then the great thing about it is once the game starts, you're done. We pack up everything for you, and you go into the game and go on your way. But we do have a big screen TV that will be in there. We'll show college football. We've got a band will be in there every game, and then we'll have like a beer garden in the middle. I think with anything, it's going to take a couple games for people to get used to something new to the tailgate scene. And definitely did not do it to disrupt what I think is the greatest tailgating scene in college football. We did not do it for that reason. But I think just to add more closer to the stadium, and we've had a lot of good, in the last week, a lot of good response. Some of our teams will also be renting that space. So I think this weekend you might see our men's basketball team out there as well. So it's going to be a really happening spot. But again, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 games for people to kind of see where it fits in their tailgating schedule.
What's an area? Do you need like a pass to get in? Can any fan come through and just hang out?
Open. Yeah, okay. I urge everybody, if you get a chance on Saturday, come check it out. Drink a nice cold one, watch some games. But again, I do think, what's going to be really cool is about 4 o'clock on, 3:45, 3:55 on Saturday, you'll have the entire football team and Coach Harrell walking through that area. So I think that'll be really cool for, especially for a lot of our kids that as you do the Pirate Walk, sometimes they get kind of stuck behind people. So this is going to be a great opportunity for them to see that.
We're visiting with Ryan Robinson, Pirate Club Executive Director, 4 days out from the home opener. And Ryan, I did want to hit on just the fact that you guys have surpassed last season's season ticket total That's always a big goal for John Gilbert and the administration as a whole. So how important is that? And also kind of going along with that, any idea of what you guys are hoping for as far as a crowd for Campbell?
We met this morning. I think right now for Campbell, we have really got, and you'll start to see it today and tomorrow, we need students. They start to usually sign up the last couple of days, and they'll do it throughout the week. We need a big turnout there, and then we need to sell more single-game tickets for this game. It's kind of hard to really predict crowd-wise. I would say it's going to be in that low 30s right now. And it's been an interesting first month to the season. And I'll say this, Steve, we had so many people that spent their money, went to Raleigh. We have a lot more people, too, spending their money going to Coastal Carolina. This is my first time where, our first 2 road games where they're drivable. We've sold out our allotment of tickets. So hopefully fans realize it is the home opener. I know our kids are excited about playing in front of Pirate Nation, but we definitely need a drive on single-game ticket sales this week, and also our students, which I think we'll get. Obviously, the BYU game is selling at a really good rate right now. Talking to our ticket office today, lower level tickets are depleted. They're starting to deplete. So I would definitely get your tickets for that game. Should know that game time. Hopefully we'll know it by Monday at the latest of what time that game will be. But yeah, we'll sell tickets. I think last year I looked for the Norfolk State game. We had 35,000. Hopefully we can get to that number. But again, Pirate Nation has been unbelievable with the amount of our season tickets going up. What they did at NC State was incredible, selling 4,300 tickets, and then what they've done at Coastal. You are going to see a lot of purple and gold on the road.
John Moody's in the chat, Ryan. He wants to know will there be any Pirate Club events before the Coastal game next Saturday?
Yes, there is. There's a tailgate. We had sent out a couple times. We're sending out again now. It is in the GG lot. It's the Pirate Club and ECU Alumni Association. I will tell people to act quickly. I think we only have about 50 or 60 spots remain. And we're not going to be able to sell tickets at the door, but that'll be a very popular tailgate that's beginning at 4:30 p.m. So all Pirate Club members will be receiving an email here shortly that will have that information. I do know there's going to be a lot of other things around that game. We have a lot of Pirates, a lot of different restaurants that I think are hosting events. We're trying to kind of get our hands on some of those restaurants, maybe that we can promote to Pirate Club members as well.
Rod Robinson with us. A few more things with the Pirate Club executive director. We'll get him out of here. I did want to promote, Ryan, y'all launched the Pledge per touchdown deal at the kickoff luncheon, and I really just want to reiterate that for the fans who maybe did not see that. How can they sign up for that, and what exactly does that entail as well?
So you can go to ecupirateclub.com or just call the Pirate Club. I think sometimes that's easier, is just give us a call at 737-4540. We've actually got a really good response to it, and it is crucial. Just at the kickoff luncheon when we kind of announced it, I think we had 110 people sign up for it, and all that money is going to the Purple and Gold Fund, which at the end of the day is supporting our student-athlete recruitment and retention. We've talked about this before, but, obviously we launched the Purple and Gold Society. I think right now we have about 40 to 45 members. That is a minimum $5,000 a year over 5 years. But we also have this Athletics Excellence Fund, and with the transition of Team Boneyard, who I can't say enough about, those individuals that volunteered their time, it's more important than ever right now. It is critical to our continued success on the field. I think just watching a lot of college football games this weekend, you're hearing a lot about this team spending that, this team spending that. I don't think East Carolina, we're looking to be the top in our conference, but we definitely want to be competitive in that area, and I think we are this year. But I think as you look to the future, it is vital that we all understand that is the the kind of evolving landscape of collegiate athletics.
Robert, going off of that, wants to know, do we give to the Pirate Club if we want to contribute to revenue sharing, and can we mark for 100% of the contribution to go to rev share? So I know you mentioned the Purple Gold fund and everything there, but can they give outside of that as well?
Any amount you can give and any amount you give to the Purple and Gold or Athletics Excellence Fund, you're getting priority points. You're getting Pirate Club credit. It's 100% tax deductible. The Purple and Gold Society does have a lot of different kind of exclusive experiences and recognitions, but it's been really popular with people that, especially, they have donor-advised funds, stock gifts, matching gifts. So it has been very successful. We've got to continue. I think we have an opportunity to lead the way in our conference in terms of fan support for the revenue sharing. I really, really believe that, and I've seen it with what we've already been able to do with the transition of Team Boneyard. We had a lot of people from Team Boneyard that transferred over their payments per month, and a lot of those were paying where it ended up being $5,000 a year, where they're a member of the Purple and Gold Society. So we're fortunate. We have an unbelievable fan base, Pirate Club membership. I think sometimes, I was looking at our season ticket number, and that's just, it's kind of rare. A lot of schools, I know there's a school in our league that I think spends more money than us, but we talked to them the other day, and they were hoping to get 11,000 season tickets. I looked at a school the other day that I think they had 22,000 at their first game. So I never take that for granted, Stephen. I know John Gilbert does not. The amount of support we get here, we just got to keep plugging along. We got to find ways to make sure that we're taking care of our Pirate Club membership as well. There is one thing.
All right, John, go ahead, man.
With kids, because this has been, I just found out a minute ago we had 150 new members sign up. But if the Pirate Kids Club, Saturday's Pirate Club Day. So on Saturday, if your kid's a member of the Pirate Club, they're going to be able to walk around with a parent, walk around the field at halftime. And really tomorrow is the deadline to sign up for the Kids Club, just because we do have to get, total amount of people and get everything set up. But you can go to ECUPirateclub.com, sign up for the Pirate Kids Club, walk on the field at halftime with your child. I think it'll be a pretty memorable experience, and it's become really, really popular over the last week.
ECUPirateclub.com to sign up for that. That'll be awesome for sure. All right, John did want to know, do you know how many tickets Coastal allotted you guys? And look, I've talked to a lot of fans that are buying them through Coastal as well. So any idea of that number, just how many ECU fans will see at that venue?
I think it was 1,200 and give or take. And now we requested 300 more, which we were able to get because of the initial 1,200, we were not going to be able to take care of every Pirate Club member that requested tickets. And really appreciate Coastal kind of helping us out and sending us, I think it was 350 more tickets that we were able to sell. So every Pirate Club member that signed up through the Pirate Club for Coastal tickets will get them. Those tickets, those mobile tickets, will be emailed on Monday morning. We just got the tickets from Coastal, so we'll allocate them this week, and they will be sent out on Monday morning.
I was over at the stadium the other day, Ron, and I'll tell you what, I know this is also an operations thing along with you guys in the Pirate Club, but the new signage of the former players going on at Soundbank Tower, I think it looks first class. And just, I don't know, I know Pirate fans have been calling for that for a long time, so got to be pretty cool to see that come to fruition. Yeah,
and appreciate Bill Clark Holmes, Lance, and Heath, everything they do for the Pirate Club. I could do an hour radio show on how impactful Bill Clark Holmes has been for ECU athletics and especially the future of ECU athletics. So the South Concourse will be the Bill Clark Holmes South Concourse. I think the banners are going to be really cool. People drive up on game day. I love how we do it at Clark LeClaire, and I think we've got to continue to look at that at all of our venues. But what we'd like to do too eventually, and obviously it takes money, is right outside where Scales used to be, where you can kind of see inside our stadium. I would like to kind of cover that up with former players, former coaches, dignitaries. I think that would kind of be a cool thing around the stadium as well. So those are all things we're continuing to discuss. We have on our list, but you got to prioritize right now. To compete right now, we do have to prioritize everything. But when I look out right now and see a new indoor facility that people haven't had a chance to see it, and they'll see it on Saturday, it is going to be massive, and it is going to play a large role in all of our sports programs. And then on Friday, we will do a groundbreaking for the Dick and Sarah Bennett baseball building. So I know Coach Godwin and others are really excited about that. So there's a lot of construction going on, but sometimes construction is a good thing.
No doubt. Ron Robinson, Pirate Club Executive Director. Ron, anything else Pirate fans need to know as we get closer to kickoff heading into Saturday?
No, I think just tell a friend if you have someone that wants to kind of check it out. It's a great game to kind of come and support our guys. I know we had such a great crowd in NC State, and I know Blake and the guys are excited about playing in front of our home fans. There's nothing like playing at Dowdy Ficklin, and I'm looking forward to this year. Just kind of what I saw on Thursday. I love the fight in our guys. I love our head coach. Blake has been a really good friend to the Pirate Club, and I'm really excited to see what 2025 is going to look like.
He's Ron Robinson, Pirate Club Executive Director. Ron, we appreciate you taking some time out of your busy week to visit with us, man. Appreciate it as always.
Hey, no problem. Thank you, Stephen.
Absolutely. That's Ryan Robinson with the Pirate Club. A lot of good info there. Again, get your tickets for Saturday, 6 o'clock p.m. kickoff for Campbell ECU, the home opener for the Pirates. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. Philip and I will talk about what players we want to see more of as we put the NC State game to bed. Look ahead to Campbell, week 1 to week 2, who are we hoping to see a growth from on the football field. That and more on the way. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors, third segment here. Appreciate Ryan Robinson, his time on the program, ECU Pirate Club Executive Director. If you missed any of that, check it out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, also archived on YouTube and Facebook as well. And we did have a question on Facebook, I believe, I did want to address before Philip and I discuss our next topic. Jake Pierce says, any lingering injuries from the NC State game going into Campbell, or are there guys who could get a little rest to stay fresh? So good question, Jake. We did see Jonathan Jean go down at one point following a big hit. I think he's fine, should be fine by this weekend. Also saw a couple guys nicked up. Tegan Wilk missed, I think, a few plays, and Raheem Craig as well. Doesn't feel like anything long-term. I did confirm yesterday, now this is a preseason injury, but Demarius Hines, true sophomore safety, will miss the season with a leg injury. So Pirates are a little thin at depth, with depth at safety, which we can get into to the second part of your question, Jake, with our next topic. Philip Pilkington, back in the 94.3 The Game studios. We did see a large amount of players see the field in week one. I want to say more than 20 on each side of the ball get regular playing time, Philip. But I wrote an article this morning on Hoist the Colors. Fans can check out it in depth. We'll discuss a little bit of our thoughts, though, here on the show. 10 players we want to see more from in week two is what I posted. Now, I'm not going to run down all 10, but I'll run down a few significant names. And week one to week two, I expect some personnel changes, some different sub-packages. We'll start with you. Give me a name you really want to see more of as we get ready for week two in the home opener against Campbell.
I'm a good Jaquez Petaway. They got him the ball, 2, maybe 3 times. They were all in the first half. They were all behind the line of scrimmage. I didn't really feel like he had the opportunity to show what he is made of out on the field. And, this is not a knock on John David Baker by any means that this happened. A lot of it comes down to, like you mentioned in the first segment, there's a lot of RPOs. Also, it becomes tough to call plays when you're struggling to run the football. So, unfortunately, just didn't get him in some of those situations that you want to see him in: drive routes, mesh concepts, little stop routes there in the middle of the field against zone coverages where you feel like he can get the ball in his hands and become a factor. So hopefully with a lesser opponent, you'll be able to get him the ball in space a few times and see what he can do.
Jaquez Petaway, he was first on my list as well. 20 snaps total, got the start at slot receiver. It was clear they wanted to use his speed laterally. I do want to see him try and get some targets down the field. Maybe early in the game you try to run him in motion, get the defense thinking he's going laterally, and then hit somebody else over the top. But yeah, 3 total touches for a combined -7 yards. I think two catches for -5 yards and a rush for -2 yards. So good pick there. I'm going to go with a guy who I feel like deserves some more playing time also at receiver. And this is tough, and I wrote this as well. You've got about 6 receivers you really like, but Tyler Johnson, he played 11 snaps. He caught 1 pass on a little spit-out screen ball for 6 yards, but he had the hustle play on the Javante Connor touchdown, catch and run. And anytime you see a guy who's just out there busting it all for his teammates, I want to see him touch the ball. He also had a really good offseason, and I just feel like he's the type of guy who's going to go out there if given some game opportunities and catch the football. Any others on your list, Philip?
Yeah, just kind of looking right now at guys on the depth chart that I think played well, but I want to see more of. And one of them for me was Kendrick. Is it DeBoer? Is that how you say his last name?
DeJour. Yep.
Yeah, Kendrick DeJour. I don't know what his snap count is. I'm sure you have it there in front of him, but I just felt like he was one of the few defensive players in that contest that always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. I don't think he's the most talented player on the defensive side of the football, but we talked about some of those missed tackles, some of those guys flying in there, just trying to decleat somebody. It never seemed like Kendrick was that guy. He was good in coverage, always in the right spot. So I want to see how he can progress if he gets more time in the game. Did you have a snap count there by any chance? I know you got PFF.
Yeah, so Kendrick DeJour, 9 snaps versus the run, 4 in coverage, 6 rushing the quarterback, I believe. That is 19 defensive snaps total. Also played some special teams. And that's the thing that I wrote, too. He is known as a pass rusher, and he really looked good versus the run, I thought, getting in the backfield. So I was encouraged there. And also with Raheem Craig a little banged up, that could be a chance to give him some rest going back to Jake's point on Facebook. I did want to mention two guys that I'm hoping to see more of this week is both of the backup safeties. I mentioned Demarius Hines is injured, so obviously he would have been a guy who would play. Unfortunate situation there, but hey, in football you got to develop depth. This is why you recruit 3-4 deep at every position. So we saw Tegan Wilk and Jamali Riddle basically play the entire game at safety. Well, who are their backups? Aiden Duncanson is a redshirt sophomore North Carolina transfer. He's had a really good offseason. He got a couple snaps against NC State. He's a guy who I want to see play a little bit more this weekend. And Ladarian Polk is a transfer safety who previously started at Memphis. He's also been at FIU. He's also been, I think, at Central Missouri. He has bounced around, but he's not going to be a guy who goes out there as a senior and is scared of the light. So I want to see both those guys get some legitimate time this weekend to help spell that safety room. All right, any other names, Phillip?
I'm going to have a cop-out answer here, but this is what I do every time we play an FCS opponent. I always pick the backup center. I'm going to take Bryce Reaver. And the reason being is, Darius Bell, I think, did a good job last week, but injuries are a part of football. And, I thought Darius gave us very good insight yesterday about what actually happens in the communication of the offensive line pre-snap. So many times guys are just like, oh, yeah, we all got to be on the same page. He actually broke it down for us. And then also there's so much pre-snap communication between the quarterback and the and the center, excuse me. And you cannot simulate in-game reps with that until you've had in-game reps. So I would like to see him come into the game prior to Caton Hauser leaving the game. If we do get to a place where we can get in the twos, just so they can develop that on-the-field chemistry in case, God forbid, something happens to Darius Bell down the stretch.
Speaking of backups, do we see Mike Wright take a snap at quarterback, and do we see Raheem Jeter take a snap at quarterback?
One of them for sure. I'm hoping both. And right now, the depth chart that we were handed yesterday does have Mike Wright as number 2. I personally would rather see Raheem Jeter in the game. And the reason why is Mike Wright has started college football games. Raheem Jeter has not. I want Raheem Jeter to get as many reps back there as he can in case he does get put into that role. Now, you got to keep Mike Wright, where he's not rusty. So I would like to see him back there as well. But I still think there is a little bit of a confidence looming issue with Raheem Jeter. They talked about how much he's impressed in the offseason. Well, a young man doesn't truly believe he's improved in the offseason and how much impressed they are. And a young man doesn't really adapt to that until he's seen himself do it in a game. Mike Wright knows he can do it in a game. I'm not worried about the confidence of Mike Wright. I'm not really worried about Raheem Jeter either, but I just want him to get in there and just reassure himself that he can be the guy if his name is called upon if something happens to Caton.
It's one of those things that it reminds me of last year when Jake Garcia was the backup, but in blowouts they put Raheem Jeter in after Blake Harrell took over and Caton Hauser was the starter. So maybe we see a similar situation. Again, this is assuming ECU take care of business. I mean, we've seen ECU almost lose to Charleston Southern at home in recent years, so they got to go out and actually perform at that high level. Kenny Curlins on YouTube says London Montgomery needs more carries. All the receivers not named Brock Spalding need to get going. Brock was a beast in that game, and the tight ends did their job. So, yeah, Pirates need to get as many weapons as possible, comfortable before this tough stretch against Coastal and BYU to wrap up non-conference play. All right, we'll get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this.
It's time to soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota. Summer is here with hot deals on a great selection of new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $189 a month, or Tacoma, $279 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville, we've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
The sun is out, and so are the deals at Greenville Toyota. Soak up the savings on a hot selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $289 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties.
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment. Got a few minutes left here. Steve and I go here. Philip Pilkington producing in the 94.3 The Game studios. Got a couple comments I'd like to read. First off, congrats to Chris Melvin, who got engaged this weekend. He shares in the chat. Quote, just thought I'd share that I got engaged this weekend in Beaufort. I say that to say this. When I was walking off the boat dock right after proposing, I saw Blake Harrell there with his family. Hope that's a good omen. I mean, I got to be honest. That's not only is it pretty crazy. What are the odds? Engagement followed by seeing the ECU football coach. Pirates by 70 this weekend. If not, I tell you what, if ECU loses this weekend, I hate to be the guy, Chris, but you may want to go ahead and call it off.
Well, congratulations, Chris. And don't get married during football season. Let that be the omen to her that you don't need to get married on a Saturday during football season. If I'm calling you out, you know who you are.
You may want to talk to Blake. I want to say, didn't he open his official press conference last week? Happy anniversary to his wife. So even he got married in football season. Now he may have been
week 0. I don't think week 0 was much of a thing back then.
I'd say as somebody who is fully involved in all the sports seasons, I got married in July for a reason. My wife still isn't thrilled with it to this day, but at the same time, I know that when it's time for our anniversary, I don't have to deal with any sports. So that's the positive of it. If you get married during football season.
At least last 2 years, you guys have gotten to do an anniversary trip over the summer, right? Chicago last year, Boston this past year. I mean, it's hotter than you know what, but at least you're not working.
That's the one downside is everywhere you go, it's going to be hot. But like you said,
next year.
Yeah, and I'd rather honestly go somewhere and just not have to worry about news breaking, even though it always somehow tends to happen. All right, Chris says, no way football season is out for wedding day, so he is on board. Well done, Chris, with that. Johnny Gardner adds, according to Ryan Robinson, with the men's basketball team using a portion of the new tailgate area this weekend, should be a good official visit weekend for them. Yeah, from my understanding, they'll have a few official visitors in town. They'll also have some for the BYU game, so basketball taking advantage of recruiting on a slam-packed weekend. Final comment here. We kind of addressed this the other day. We ran out of time, but Graham Teal says Mike Wright has to get more involved. I just think you try to define his role a little bit better this weekend, Phillip, but you save the good stuff for BYU. I don't know, like you do want to put some stuff on film to get teams to prepare for it and spend time on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you line up in the slot, you're on like a traditional jet sweep. I'm cool with it. Or even if you put him in the slot and you like run a nice little drag route or something. But I don't want to see him like, you throw a double pass with him or something like that,
Right. Save the good stuff for the games. Hopefully they can actually block on the perimeter this time if it is another jet sweep with Mike Wright or make the right read. All right, we are out of time on this Tuesday. Again, shout out to Ryan Robinson for taking the time to come on the show. Busy week for everybody over at ECU Athletics, so always appreciate them for their gracious time on the program. On Wednesday, we'll visit with Chris Haymeyer, Campbell play-by-play voice. Also got Macy O'Donnell, Kevin Monroe coming later this week. And as always, our game picks with Bobby Harward on Friday. So exciting times ahead. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you Wednesday, 12 noon.